Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Esteem a New Woman. The devilish diva starts on the road to becoming a new creature in Christ in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem a New Woman at Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. A person claiming to be the granddaughter of Anita Grayson is allegedly saying thank you to the manager who she got in a fight with at that Tim Hortons when she had a dispute over the fast food order that she believed that the people at the drive-thru got wrong. Now, according to unsubstantiated reports, the Shadrika Grayson, the granddaughter of Anita Grayson, is saying that her grandmother was a serious abuser who spent years abusing her mother and aunt with no repercussions, and is saying thank you to the manager who allegedly got into the altercation with her grandmother. Now, according to this person who claims to be the granddaughter of Anita Grayson, she blames that Anita Grayson basically was a very abusive individual, and that this abusive individual liked to put their hands on people, and basically in a statement says that I want to make sure that you know with a shadow of a doubt that you did exactly what you had to do. I want to personally thank you for using your hands to finally get the justice that my mom and auntie truly deserve. Your courage gave our family what we've been longing for. Don't let noise stress you for a second. We see you, we appreciate you, we have your back, and we through all the day, every day. This is the message that Shadrika Grayson is giving August Honor, the employee who was allegedly assaulted by Anita Grayson, and wants to make this a statement about how she views the alleged abusive behavior of her grandmother. Now, this whole statement basically runs counter to that of her daughters, if this is a relative, and the daughters themselves are saying that they're going on a quest for justice as related to the death of Anita Grayson, and that's why I basically take this whole claim of the granddaughter coming out with a grain of salt, and I take it with a grain of salt because the only place where I've seen this whole report is on Facebook, and the other place that it's allegedly claimed to be is in the Daily Mail newspaper, which is a tabloid, and those are the only two places where this whole story has been found, and since it's not coming from credible sources, I really can't say it's substantiated because I know there's a lot of people making fake news out here, like in the case of the so-called Dominican woman who basically was suing Verizon. And I have to be careful about the content that's produced because when it comes down to individuals these days, there's a lot of people making fake news in order to get clicks and views. And I really want to be careful about how I report this story because when it comes to those individuals, I don't want to give those people any sort of traction. Now, what is looking like this Shadrika Grayson could be looking to do is look to try to push the narrative that Anita Grayson was one of these loud, argumentative, belligerent black women who basically had no semblance of self-control. And as she had no semblance of self-control over her emotions, she basically stormed into that Tim Hortons and looked to go out here and start a fight with the employee at the counter. And as she looked to start that fight with the employee at the counter, went out here and got into this altercation, even though this woman had heart failure at 75 years old. She basically was going to go into that restaurant and get into it with these employees, not thinking about her health. And it's looking like, from what this so-called granddaughter is saying, that this is a pattern as related to her behavior. And this pattern, sadly, fits within a stereotype as related to belligerent black women. And this is a narrative that many, I believe, in the white media would love to push to demonize this black woman. Now, I know that there are black women out here who do get very loud, do get very argumentative and do get very hostile when things don't go their way. But I just find it to be quite suspect that you have a granddaughter coming out and looking to go out here and say this about her grandmother when her own daughters are not making these claims. And that's where I find this side of the story to be really quite suspect. I find it to be really quite suspect as related to this story. I find it to be really suspect because, again, when it comes to a daughter basically, if the daughter is coming out, I mean, I know that daughters do get abused and stuff like that, but even if this was a case, again, as related to going to a court of law, you would think they would try to have a little bit of objectivity as related to that case. You would think they would try to have some objectivity as related to that case of this whole situation. And that's what I would think would be the case. But when you have a daughter going off script and going off code, that's a bit of a red flag for me, because it's really showing me that, there's something really wrong with this whole Shadrika Grayson. And this Shadrika Grayson, as she's being presented, is basically sounding like a piece of fake news that basically, again, many in the white media would love to push, because many in the white media, what they want to do is take accountability off these employees who were white. They want to take accountability off these employees and put it on Anita Grayson and make Anita Grayson the bad guy of this story and not really present it in an objective manner, because there are those in the white media who like to use stereotypes like this to go out here and, again, demonize a black woman. And this isn't the first time I've seen this. I saw this way back in 1984 when I was about 10 or 11 years old with the death of Eleanor Bumpurs. I saw this with Eleanor Bumpurs. Basically, what they want to do is to go out here and make the whole case culpable on the black person. And what they want to do with this case is now manufacture this relative who basically is coming out of nowhere, has not been talked to by any major media outlet. And that's where I see this as being possible fake news by some white supremacists. That's what I see being done in this case. And as I look at this, again, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, because I don't know if there's a real Shadrika Grayson going out here and making these claims, as her daughters are on mainstream media talking about getting justice for their mother. It just seems kind of odd that you have a granddaughter going against the narrative of the family. And even though I know that, again, there are belligerent black women out here like Anita Grayson, as is presented in the video, I have to be very careful, because I know that when it comes down to the white media can be, and white supremacy can be very sneaky, again, about pushing things. And with Anita Grayson, yes, she did come in loud and belligerent, but when I look at the response of the manager, that's something that's really telling to me. I mean, the manager in this situation did not follow protocol as related to handling an irate customer. From my own years of experience as someone who studied business administration and management in college, and also worked customer service jobs, like when I was working at the Food Emporium and working at the City College of New York, there's a protocol for handling an irate customer, and the protocol is to go out here and listen to introduce yourself as the manager, to then get the employee to leave the area, and then look to listen to the customer as related to whatever issue they're having. And then after you listen to what the customer is presented as the problem, offer to solve the problem, either with a remaking of an order or going out here and refunding the money. And when I look at the actions of that manager, the actions of that manager did not follow protocol because this person basically was just inexperienced as related to handling customer service. No, this person got into this altercation instead of looking to look to settle the problem, and that's where the Tim Hortons Corporation and the franchise owner are basically going to be held liable as related to a possible lawsuit because the manager did not go out here and look to solve the problem of Anita Grayson. That's where people are, who they get in their feelings about Shadrika Grayson, are not looking at this situation objectively because, yes, Anita Grayson, as related to the video, is shown being very argumentative and being very belligerent, but there's supposed to be a proper response that an employee is supposed to participate in when they're dealing with an irate customer. There's supposed to be a proper protocol that's supposed to be followed, and a proper protocol for that manager was to go out here and again look out for the best interest of their employees by getting in front of their employee and then listening to the issues that this woman had, then explain to this woman the solution as related to the problem, and further go on and let that person know, hey, the person working the counter is not the same person who is working the drive-through. That's something that I believe everybody who has an issue with fast food needs to understand, because I've seen several incidents where people basically lost it, not understanding the person working the counter basically is a completely different employee than the people working the drive-through. The drive-through is a whole totally different staff altogether. And if there's an issue with an order, you do not go out here and let your feelings get the better of you. I talked about that in the previous video. And the way to handle things is diplomatically by going into the restaurant, to the counter, and politely explaining, with your order and your receipt in your hand, because that was something I didn't see with Anita Grayson. I just saw a woman getting emotional and just basically losing it and not understanding, again, the protocol from the customer's side. When you're the customer and there's an issue, you're supposed to come in with your bag, come in with your order, and come in with your receipt, and let the staff know, okay, there's something missing from my order, something that's lost. And again, management's job is to solve the problem, and sadly, I don't see anybody trying to solve the problem as related to Anita Grayson. No, when I see somebody talking about the granddaughter, this is a quest to get clicks and views for this whole story of Anita Grayson, and it's not about looking to solve the problem. And that's where I see the issue as related to this story. Again, you've got somebody coming out saying that they're the granddaughter of Anita Grayson, can't substantiate their story, can't substantiate their claim, can't substantiate a single thing about what they're saying. And that's the thing that basically makes me look at this story with a side eye, because this person who says they're the granddaughter, not coming to a legitimate news source to present their counterpoint so that it could be critically examined, not going out here and presenting their counterpoint so that people who are a part of law enforcement can go out here and get their side of the story relating to this incident, because this is basically witness testimony. And I wonder if this person will be able to come into court as related to being a character witness. I mean, because you can go out here and make all sorts of claims, but are you going to put that on a record? Critical question I have to ask a Shadrika Grayson. I mean, when I look at Anita Grayson, yes, I do see one of these belligerent black women getting loud and argumentative in that store, but I also see employees who basically, the 17-year-old behind the counter, basically just caught up in something that was beyond their understanding as related to business. That's one part that I see. And I also see an inexperienced manager who did not have enough training or experience to understand how to problem solve a situation as related to an irate customer. I see from my years of experience as related to working customer service, people who, again, didn't understand what customer service is all about. And I see a situation where people are looking to turn this into something that it's not. Now, I really, again, see it as a person, again, basically going berserk, like I've seen in the case of an employee at a Taco Bell who went berserk over women taking soda, or in the case of a Dunkin' Donuts, an old pervert getting mad because he didn't get what was in his order and wound up getting himself killed, and another guy who went crazy over not getting mayonnaise, and a Steak and Shake person who shot a Steak and Shake employee, person at the Steak and Shake shot somebody over onion rings. Again, people not using critical thinking in a customer service situation, because if you just ask politely or present an issue to them, people politely, they will gladly give you this food, because many of these companies would rather sacrifice a few pennies as related to this food that's going to be in the toilet in 8 hours than have to deal with a tarnished reputation and a civil lawsuit. And when I look at this whole case of Anita Grayson, again, I'm looking at this so-called granddaughter, and I'm not really hearing the ring of truth as her story. I know that there are black women who have bad attitudes. I know that there are black women who are very hostile. I know that black women that are abusive. And in this case, this possibly could have been a perfect storm. Again, you had a black woman with heart failure and a bad attitude, and she didn't understand the importance of managing her stress. No, this woman possibly didn't understand the importance of managing her stress, and basically possibly could have gone out here and created a situation of stress over some donuts and coffee that could have led to her going from being in a place with this heart failure with a device to winding up with a heart attack. And this heart attack could have been the thing that led to her demise, her getting that upset over whatever order that she had at Tim Hortons. I mean, that could be the case for things. But when I look at, again, this granddaughter story, it's not having that ring of truth for me. And basically it's fitting within a troubling pattern I'm seeing as related to possible fake news that people like to push on social media. That makes me just that much more wary of anything you see on social media and having to go out here and try to check it and substantiate it to make sure that the story that's being presented are the actual facts. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Runway of Doom. The goddess next door struts her stuff on the catwalk to take on a runway of rogues in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS Runway of Doom at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, An Offer He Can't Refuse. The man who rules the world gets a job offer he can't refuse in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, An Offer He Can't Refuse at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.